Jenny, stop bothering me and leave that instrument alone, Olga said without turning round or raising her eyes from the book. And your sister's name, Jenny continued, tugging at the accordion, is Olga, I believe. Jenny, stop bothering me and leave that instrument alone. Olga repeated, beginning to listen in spite of herself. Your sister plays very well, he said. Does she intend to study at the conservatory? Jenny was dragging the accordion out of its case and fixing the strap over her shoulder. No, I told him. She's specializing in reinforced concrete. Then he said. Oh. Jenny pressed one of the keys, so I said. Boo. Jenny pressed another key. You horrid child. Put that instrument back at once. Olga cried, jumping up. Who gave you permission to speak to strange men? All right, I'll put it away, Jenny said huffily. It wasn't me who spoke to him. It was he who spoke to me. I was going to tell you the rest, but now I won't. You just wait till Dad comes home, he'll show you. Me. It's you he'll show. You won't let me do any work. No, you. Jenny cried, picking up an empty pail and flying out onto the porch. I'll tell him how you send me running for kerosene, soap and water 100 times a day. I'm not a lorry, or a horse, or a tractor either. Jenny brought in the pail of water and set it on a bench. But since Olga did not even look up from the book, she went out into the garden, a pout on her face. She strolled over to the little green clearing in front of the old two-story shed. Took a sling out of her pocket and, stretching the rubber band, shot a tiny cardboard parachutist up into the air. Soaring upside down, the parachutist turned a somersault. And a little blue paper parachute popped open over his head. But just then a gust of wind bore him into the blackness of the loft window. A casualty. Something had to be done to save the little cardboard man. Jenny ran round the shed, from the roof of which taut strings stretched in all directions. She set the rickety ladder back against the window, climbed it and jumped down onto the floor of the loft. How strange! The loft appeared to be inhabited. On one of the walls were hanging some twists of twine, a lantern. Two crossed signaling flags and a map of the locality marked with mysterious signs. In a corner lay a pile of straw covered with sacking, and an upturned soap box. A large wheel that looked like a ship's helm was sticking out from the wall near the mossy sieve of a roof. Above it hung a homemade telephone. Jenny peered through a crack in the wall. Outside, the foliage of the overgrown gardens stretched rippling like a sea. And pigeons were frolicking in the sky. Jenny decided to make the pigeons seagulls. And the old shed with its ropes, lanterns and flags a big ship. She'd be the captain. It was great fun. She turned the wheel. The taut strings had begun to vibrate and hum. The wind whistled and whipped up the green waves. It seemed just as though her ship were slewing slowly and majestically through the waves. Helm to port, she commanded loudly and put her weight on the heavy wheel. Just then a few straight and narrow shafts of sunlight broke through the holes in the roof and fell on her face and frock. But Jenny understood that these rays were the searchlights of enemy vessels trying to pick her out and decided to give battle. Wrenching the creaking wheel, she maneuvered to right and left. Imperiously rapping out her commands. Soon the sharp searchlight beams paled and died out. That, of course, did not mean that the sun had hidden behind a cloud. It meant that the routed enemy squadron was going to the bottom. The battle was over. Jenny wiped her forehead with a dusty palm. Suddenly the telephone rang. Jenny had not expected that. She had thought it was a toy telephone. She began to feel uneasy. She picked up the receiver. A sharp voice came through. Hello. Hello. Who's there? Who's the silly ass who's breaking the wires and sending out stupid, incomprehensible signals? It's not an ass, Jenny muttered in confusion. It's me, Jenny. You crazy girl, the voice exclaimed with a suggestion of very real anxiety. Leave the wheel alone and run for your life. They'll come piling in at any moment and knock your head off. Jenny dropped the receiver, but it was too late. A head popped through the window Gikas and then Sima Simerkov. Nig Kolokolshikov and the others all tumbled in one after another. Who are you? Asked Jenny, backing away from the window in fright. Go away. This is our garden. I didn't ask you to come. But a silent, compact wall of boys advanced shoulder to shoulder on Jenny. Cornered, Jenny let out a scream. At that moment yet another shadow darkened the window.